Welcome to the captivating world of data analysis. In this comprehensive course, we will embark on an enlightening journey through the fundamentals of data analysis. Unleash the power of information as we dive deep into the essential concepts, techniques, and tools that form the backbone of this field. Prepare to master the art of extracting valuable insights from raw data as we explore data collection, data cleaning, and wrangling. Gain proficiency in statistical analysis and visualization by unlocking the ability to unravel hidden patterns and trends. We will then delve into the realm of hypothesis testing, regression analysis, predictive modeling, equipping you with the skills to make informed decisions and accurate predictions. This video course will provide hands-on examples and real-world applications to solidify your understanding. By the end, you will possess a robust foundation in data analysis, enabling you to confidently navigate the vast sea of data and transform it into actionable knowledge. So let's embark on this captivating journey and unlock the immense power of data analysis together. Having said that, if you're an aspiring data analyst looking for an online training and certification from prestigious universities and in collaboration with leading experts, then search no more. Simplilearn's postgraduate program in data analytics from Purdue University in collaboration with IBM should be a right choice. For more details, use the link in the description box below. With that in mind, over to our training experts.
Hello everyone, we have an interesting topic for today, and that is data analytics jobs, career and salary. I will run you through the top 6 data analytics job roles. So before I dive deep into the various job roles, let's quickly understand how important a career in data analytics is and what the future holds for professionals in this domain. Let's take a look at the growth of data. So back in the early 2000s, there was relatively less data generated. But with the rapid rise in technologies and with the increase in the number of various social media platforms and multinational companies across the globe, the generation of data has increased by leaps and bounds. Did you know that according to the IDC, the total volume of data is expected to reach 175 zettabytes in 2025? Now that's a lot of data. Let's take a look at how organizations leverage all of this data. As you know, there are zillions of companies across the world. These companies generate loads of data on a daily basis. When I say data here, it simply refers to business information, customer data, customer feedback, product innovations, sales reports, and profit loss reports, to name a few. Companies utilize all of this data in a wise way. They use all of this information to make crucial decisions that can either hamper or boost their businesses. You might have heard of the term data is the new oil. Well, it definitely is, but only if organizations analyze all the available data very well, then this oil is definitely valuable. And for that, we have data analytics. Organizations take the help of data analytics to convert the available raw data into meaningful insights. So what is data analytics? Technically, you can say it is a process wherein data is collected from various sources, then cleaned, which involves removing irrelevant information, and then finally transformed into some meaningful information that can be interpreted by humans. Various technologies, tools, and frameworks are used in the analysis process. As you might have heard of the term data never sleeps. Well, it surely doesn't. Every millisecond, some or the other data is generated, and this is a constant process. This process is only going to increase in the near future with the advent of newer technologies. The data analytics domain holds paramount importance in every sector. Companies want to leverage on all the generated big data and boost their businesses. They need professionals who can play with data and convert them into crucial insights. Organizations are constantly on the lookout for such candidates, and this opportunity will only increase as data is only going to grow every second. So if you want to start your career in this field, or if you want to switch your job role into a role in the data analytics domain, then we have a set of job profiles that you can look at. We will look into 6 job roles in the data analytics field and learn what each job role is all about, the responsibilities of a professional working in that particular role, the skills required to get that particular job, the average annual salary of a professional working in that role, and finally the companies hiring for that role. So let's start off. First, we have the job role of a data analyst. A data analyst is a person who collects, processes, and performs statistical analysis of large data sets. Every business generates and collects data, be it marketing research, sales figures, logistics, or transportation costs. A data analyst will take this data and figure out a variety of measures, such as how to price new materials, how to reduce transportation costs, or how to deal with issues that cost the company money. They deal with data handling, data modeling, and reporting. Now, talking about their responsibilities, data analysts recognize and understand the organization's goal. They collaborate with different team members such as programmers, business analysts, engineers, and data scientists to identify opportunities for solving business problems. Data analysts write complex SQL queries, scripts, and store procedures to gather and extract information from multiple databases. They filter and clean data using different modern tools and techniques and make it ready for analysis. They also perform data mining from primary and secondary data sources. Data analysts identify, analyze, and interpret trends in complex data sets. This is done using statistical tools such as R and SAS. Another key responsibility of a data analyst is to create summary reports and build various data visualizations for decision making and presenting it to the stakeholders. Next, let us discuss the important skills that you need to know to become a data analyst. Firstly, you should have a bachelor's degree in computer science or information technology. A master's degree in computer applications or statistics is also preferable. You must have a good understanding of programming languages like R, Python, JavaScript, and also understand SQL. In addition to that, it is beneficial if you have hands-on experience with statistical and data analytics tools such as SAS Miner, Microsoft Excel, and SSAS. Basic understanding of machine learning and its algorithms would be an advantage. Acquaint yourself with descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, and inferential statistics. Most importantly, you need to have a good working knowledge of various data visualization software along with presentation skills. This will help you pitch in your ideas and viewpoints to the clients and stakeholders better. Now, talking about their salaries, a data analyst earns nearly 5,23,000 rupees per annum in India, while in the United States they earn around $62,453 per annum. Let's now look at a few of the companies hiring data analysts. So as you can see, we have the American e-commerce giant Amazon, then we have Microsoft, the American online payment company PayPal, then we have Walmart, Bloomberg, and Capital One. So that was all about data analyst. The next job role is of a business analyst. Business analysts help guide businesses in improving products, services, and software through data-driven solutions. They are responsible for bridging the gap between IT and business using data analytics to evaluate processes, determine requirements, and deliver data-driven recommendations and reports to executives and stakeholders. Business analysts are responsible for creating new models that support business decisions and come up with initiatives and strategies to optimize costs. Now let us look at the various responsibilities of a business analyst. Business analysts have a good understanding of the requirements for business. Their vital role is to work in accordance with relevant project stakeholders to understand their requirements and translate them into details which the developers can understand. They frequently interact with developers and come up with a plan to design the layout of a software application. They also run meetings with stakeholders and other authorities. They engage with business leaders and users to understand how data-driven changes to products, services, software, and hardware can improve efficiencies and add value. They ensure that the project is running smoothly as per the requirements and the design planned through user acceptance and validation testing. They make sure all the features are being incorporated into the application. BAs rely on different software to write documentation and design visualization to explain all the findings. It is extremely critical for any BA to effectively document the findings where each requirement of the client is mentioned in detail. Now let us look at the skills required for a BA. A bachelor's degree in the field of science, engineering, or statistics or any related domain will suffice. Knowledge of programming languages such as Python and Java is beneficial. You should be really good at writing complex SQL queries, and you should also have knowledge of various business process models. Along with knowledge of programming languages, ideas about statistical analysis and predictive modeling is necessary. Decision-making, strong analytical and problem-solving skills are necessary to solve software and business issues. You also need to have excellent presentation and communication skills, both oral and written. Moving on to their salary, a business analyst is expected to earn around 7 lakh rupees per annum in India. In the US, they earn nearly $68,346 per annum. IQVIA, Dell, Philips, Honeywell, the famous American messaging platform WhatsApp, the UK-based company Ernst & Young are few of the companies hiring for business analysts. Up next, we have the job role of a database administrator. A database administrator is a specialized computer systems administrator who maintains a successful database environment by directing or performing all related activities to keep the organization's data secure. They are responsible for storing, organizing, and retrieving data from several databases and data warehouses. Their top responsibility is to maintain data integrity. This means that database administrator will ensure that the data is secure from unauthorized access. Moving on to their responsibilities. A database administrator develops, designs, and maintains a database to ensure that the data in it is properly stored, organized, and managed well. They maintain data integrity by avoiding unauthorized access, and they keep databases up to date. They run tests and modify the existing databases to ensure that they operate reliably. They also inform end users of changes in databases and train them to utilize systems. They need to cooperate with programmers, data analysts, and the IT staffs to ensure smooth running and maintenance of databases. Database administrators are responsible for taking system backups in case of power outages and other disasters. So they should have an efficient disaster recovery plan. Now let's have a look at their skills. To become a database administrator, you should have a bachelor's degree in computer science or information technology. Knowledge of programming languages such as Python, Java, and Scala is important. You need to carry at least 3 to 5 years of experience in data management. You need to have an understanding of different databases such as Oracle DB, MongoDB, MySQL Server, and PostgreSQL. Also, they should have an idea about database design and writing SQL queries. Finally, you need to have a good understanding of operating systems such as Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, along with storage technologies. Talking about their salary, a database administrator in India can earn up to 4,97,000 rupees per annum. In the US, they earn around $78,000 per annum. Let's have a look at the companies hiring for database administrators. So as you see, here we have BookMyShow, Oracle, the American MNC Intel, Amazon, Robert Half, and the New York Times, to name a few. Fourth in the list of job roles, we have data engineer. A data engineer is someone who's involved in preparing data for analytical and operational uses. A data engineer transforms data into useful format for analysis. They build and test scalable big data ecosystems for businesses. A data engineer is an intermediary between a data analyst and a data scientist. Now let's jump into their responsibilities. Data engineers develop, test, and maintain architectures. They are responsible for managing, optimizing, and monitoring data retrieval, storage, and distribution throughout the organization. They discover opportunities for data acquisition, find trends in datasets, and develop algorithms to help make raw data more useful to the enterprise. Data engineers build large data warehouses using ETL for storing and retrieving data. They also recommend ways to improve data quality and efficiency, along with building algorithms to help give easier access to raw data. Data engineers often work with big data and submit their reports to data scientists for analysis purpose. They need to recommend and sometimes implement ways to improve data reliability, efficiency, and quality. Moving on to the skills of a data engineer. A data engineer should hold a bachelor's degree in computer science or information technology. They should have good hands-on experience with Python, R, and Java. Also, data engineers should be well-versed with big data technologies such as Hadoop, Apache Spark, Scala, Cassandra, and MongoDB. Data warehousing and ETL experience are essential to this position along with in-depth knowledge of SQL and other database solutions. Basic knowledge of statistical analysis will be an advantage along with idea about operating systems. Here is what a data engineer can earn. So in India, a data engineer can earn up to 8,85,000 rupees per annum, while they can earn around $103,000 a year in the USA. We have Capgemini, Shutterstock, the American provider of stock photography, Spotify, Accenture, Genpact, and Facebook hiring data engineers. The next exciting job role is of a data scientist. A data scientist is a professional who uses statistical methods, data analysis techniques, machine learning, and related concepts in order to understand and analyze data to draw business conclusions. They make sense to messy and unstructured data and bring value out of it. They employ techniques and theories drawn from many fields within the context of mathematics, statistics, computer science, and information science. A data scientist understands the challenges in business and comes up with the best solutions using modern tools and techniques to analyze, visualize, and build prediction models to make business decisions. Let us now look at their responsibilities in the industries. Data scientists clean, process, and manipulate data using several data analytics tools. They perform ad hoc data mining, collect large sets of structured and unstructured data from disparate sources. They design and evaluate advanced statistical models to work on big data. They also create automated anomaly detection systems and keep constant track of their performance. Data scientists interpret the analysis of big data to discover solutions and opportunities. A data scientist takes input from data analysts and engineers to formulate the results. They use visualization packages and tools to create reports and dashboards for relevant stakeholders. They also adopt new business models and approaches. Apart from this, they regularly build predictive models and machine learning algorithms. Now moving on to the skills of a data scientist. A bachelor's degree in computer science or information technology will be fine. But a master's degree in the field of data science will hold a major advantage. You also need to have a good experience in the analytics domain. You should be proficient in programming languages such as Python, Java, and C++. Knowledge of Perl will also be an advantage. Familiarity with Apache Hive, Pig, and Apache Spark is necessary along with the knowledge of Hadoop. In addition to knowing programming languages, you also need to know SQL, machine learning, and deep learning. Data visualization and BI skills are necessary for creating reports and dashboards. You should also be able to communicate and present information and ideas properly. Now talking about their salary, a data scientist in India can expect an annual salary of 10,47,000 rupees per year. Meanwhile, in the US, they can earn up to $113,000 per annum. That's a lot of money. From the many companies hiring for data scientists, here we have a few companies named. They are yet again Amazon, Citibank, Apple, Google, the Japanese electronic commerce and online retailing company Rakuten, and Facebook. And finally, we have machine learning engineer. Machine learning engineers are professionals who develop intelligent machines that can learn from vast amounts of data and apply knowledge without human intervention. They use different algorithms and statistical modeling to make sense of data. They design and develop machine learning and deep learning algorithms. Their main goal is to create self-running software. Let's have a look at the responsibilities of a machine learning engineer. Machine learning engineers research, design, and develop machine learning systems. They use exceptional mathematical skills in order to perform faster computations and work with algorithms to create sophisticated models. They perform A/B testing and use data modeling to fine-tune the results. They use data modeling and evaluation strategy to find hidden patterns and predict unseen instances. Machine learning engineers work closely with data engineers to build data pipelines and interact with stakeholders to get a clarity on the requirements. Most importantly, they analyze complex data sets to verify data quality, perform model tests and experiments, choose to implement the right machine learning algorithm, and select the right training data sets. Moving on to their skills. A machine learning engineer should have a degree in computer science and information technology. They should have an advanced degree in computer science or maths. In addition to this, they should also have experience in the same domain. They should be proficient in programming languages such as Python, R, C++, and Java. Knowledge of statistics, probability, and linear algebra is necessary as all the machine learning algorithms have been derived from mathematics. Also, having an idea of signal processing would be beneficial. Machine learning engineers need to have a good understanding of data manipulation and machine learning libraries such as NumPy, Pandas, Scikit-learn, etc. They should have good oral and written communication skills. Let us now have a look at their salary structure. A machine learning engineer earns 8 lakh rupees per annum in India, while in the US they can earn around $114,000 a year. Now that's a whopping amount, isn't it? Let's have a look at the companies hiring machine learning engineers. So as you see, we have Amazon, Microsoft, Oracle, Salesforce, Rapido, and Accenture to name a few. That was all about the job role of a machine learning engineer. Now that we have seen the different job roles in the field of data analytics, let's also go ahead and see how an ideal resume of a data analyst should look like. Seen on your screens is a sample resume of a data analyst. You can grab some ideas from this and incorporate them in your resume. Nowadays, it's quite common to have a professional photograph of yours on the resume. You can go ahead and have that. Then your name in bold, followed by your contact details like email ID and phone number. Then moving on, you would have to write a summary. Briefly explain your current job role and what you're looking for in the future. Having a LinkedIn profile link works well these days. Employers can just go ahead and look at your profile and gauge you well. Make sure to have an active LinkedIn profile. In addition to LinkedIn profile, it's also good to have a GitHub profile link which can show your coding or other technical skills. If it's impressive enough, then a lot of times the rest of your resume is just secondary. As I mentioned, this is a resume of a data analyst. So as you can see in the summary here, we have just spoken about the basic responsibilities of a data analyst. Moving on to the experience part, you have to write the job title and below that you can mention the company and the tenure accordingly. Here you would have to give a brief description of achievements in the organization, any relevant accomplishments related to the job you're applying for, the tools and the various technologies you have worked with. So in this sample, you can see we have spoken about data visualization using R and Tableau. Next, we have spoken about how the candidate has worked with other teams for a better business outcome. Most of the data analysts use SQL and Excel to handle data for reporting and database maintenance, and we have mentioned that here as well. Do make sure that you always specify the tools you use. Then you can also mention if you have worked on improving data delivery. For example, here we have spoken about developing and optimizing SQL queries, data aggregations, and ETL to improve data delivery. Finally, you can speak a bit about your reporting skills and if needed, elaborate on it. Usually, professionals would have worked in a similar domain before becoming a data analyst. Here, we have taken the role of a statistical assistant as the first job, since it's easier for a candidate with this job role to shift into the data analytics field. Nevertheless, y'all can still mention your prior experience here, be it in any domain. Under the responsibilities for this job role, we have given basics such as coding data prior to computer entry, compiling statistics from various reports, computing and analyzing data, and finally some visualization and reporting. Moving to the education, here you can mention the name of your degree and the university name. If you have a post-graduation, well and good, you can list both the degrees here. Also, if you have any certifications, you can mention them here under the education category. Now moving to the skills, depending on your skills and your choice, you can either shift this part to the beginning of the resume or have it here. As you see on your screens, this is just a different way of displaying your skill sets. You can have all the 5 stars colored if you are excellent in that particular tool or language. As you see, it's crystal clear as to what the candidate's strong areas are. You can have various categories like shown. For example, under software development, you can list the languages that you know and how proficient you are in those particular languages. It's clear that the candidate knows Python better than JavaScript here. So the employer gets a clear idea about the skills you possess and the depth of it. Similarly, you can mention the databases as well. The few mentioned here are more or less a requirement to become a data analyst. At least, SQL is a must. Not to forget, data visualization is also very important when it comes to the job role of a data analyst. Mention the tools you know here and similarly give yourself a rating out of 5. 5 stars shaded being the highest. Here we have mentioned Tableau and Excel, which are more than sufficient to become a data analyst. Moving to the non-technical skills, you can mention the languages you know here. Here we have taken English and German. In addition to the languages, you can also feel free to mention the extracurricular activities that you are good at. So this is how an ideal resume of a data analyst should look like. You can alter it according to your achievements, skills, and experience.
A study from New Vantage Partners suggests 97.2% of companies are now investing in data and its analysis. Nowadays, every company needs a data expert. Do you also want to become a part of this market? If yes, how to become a part of it? What are the essential skills one should have? This video will answer all these questions. But before watching this video, please subscribe to Simplilearn's YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss any updates. First of all, we are going to discuss who is a data analyst, working of a data analyst, skills required to become a data analyst, tools required, and companies hiring. And finally, we are going to discuss about salary of a data analyst. Let me tell you how Simplilearn can help you in your journey to become a data analyst. Check out the course on data analytics in collaboration with IBM with real-time project and business case studies. You will learn tools like SciPy, Pandas, and programming languages like Python or R too. Enroll now. Link is in the description box below. Question for you. Which one of the following is not a Python library for visualization? Matplotlib, SciPy, Pandas, Jupyter Notebook. Please leave the answer in the comment section below. Moving on, who is a data analyst? A data analyst collects, analyzes, and interprets data. A data analyst will convert raw data into useful information. Data analysts are in high demand because every industry uses data analysis. Work of a data analyst. As a data analyst, you will work closely with the raw data and generate valuable insights to help companies decide their future goal. If you like thinking out of the box, you are the perfect fit for this domain. Data analysts help maximize output when it comes to generating revenue, working closely with both business and data. Nevertheless, this field boasts handsome salaries for all levels of expertise. Can you become a data analyst without prior experience? Yes, anyone can become a data analyst if they enjoy solving real-world problems, have a strong background in statistics, and have a creative mind. If you feel you don't have it, you can definitely develop it. So let us know the skills in detail. What are the basic skill sets required for a data analyst? Data analyst must know basic mathematics and statistics, programming skills, machine learning, and also data visualization tools. So let us know what are the basics that you need to learn as a data analyst. Mathematics. It is always better to know basic mathematics like linear algebra and probability fundamentals. Linear algebra is used in data pre-processing and transformation, which is the critical process of every data analyst. Statistics, a branch of mathematics that deals with collection, analysis, presentation, and implementation. Probability, we know that probability is the study of how likely something will happen, which is essential for concluding. Both probability and statistics are the backbones of data analysis. It is feasible to become a data analyst with only a basic understanding of these three areas of mathematics. But in order to remain relevant and grow as a data analyst, one's mathematical knowledge should not be restricted. Compulsorily use some of the tools as a data analyst. What are that? First is Microsoft Excel. It is the most well-known spreadsheet software in the world. It also has computation and graphing features that are excellent for data analysts. No matter your area of expertise or additional software you might want, Excel is a standard in the industry. Its useful built-in features include form design tools and pivot table. It also generates a wide range of additional features that help simplify data manipulation. As a programming language, every data analyst should know Python. It is easy to learn and has a simple syntax. Python is quite adaptable and includes a vast variety of resource libraries that are appropriate for a wide range of diverse data analytics activities. These libraries help in numerical and data computation. The Pandas and NumPy libraries, for instance, are excellent for supporting standard data processing and streamlining highly computational operations. You can also choose between Python or R. R is a well-known open source programming language much like Python. Data visualization tool. As we previously mentioned, data visualization tool is also necessary to become a data analyst. Power BI is a user-friendly interface, makes building interactive visual reports and dashboards simple. Its most vital selling point is its superb data integration. It works flawlessly with cloud sources like Google and Facebook Analytics, as well as text files, SQL servers, and Excel. Tableau is one of the best commercial data analysis tool available. It handles huge amounts of data better than many other BI tools and is effortless. It has a visual drag and drop interface. However, because it has no scripting layer, there is a limit to what Tableau can do. For example, it could be better for pre-processing data or building more complex calculations. You might have heard about MySQL a lot of time. It is a standard language for interacting with databases, and it is very helpful when working with structured data. SQL creates user-friendly dashboards that may present in various data ways since it is so simple to send complex commands to databases and change data in seconds. It has commands like add, edit, delete data. In addition, SQL is an excellent tool for creating data warehouses because of its simplicity, clarity, and interactivity. Overall, I would suggest that to become a data analyst, you should work on programming languages like Python or R plus MySQL to work on databases, adding to that Excel plus visualization tools like Tableau or Power BI. You now know what are the skills are and how it is used. What are you up to in an organization as a data analyst? To create and evaluate the report using automated tools like Tableau or Power BI. To troubleshoot the reporting database environment and reports. Data analyst, you will use statistical method to analyze data sets and spot any valuable trends that may develop over time. Evaluate companies' functional and non-functional requirements. Data analyst assess data warehousing in inspecting and reporting needs. These are all the responsibility of a data analyst in an organization. Coming to companies hiring a data analyst. IBM, Accenture, Capgemini, TCS, Facebook, Amazon, Flipkart, Meta. These are the top companies hiring a data analyst. But data suggests that every small and medium-sized company needs a data analyst. Therefore, demand of a data analyst is in every company. So, there is no need to worry. Job and salary of a data analyst. This is the final part. The salary of a data analyst is high all over the world. When it comes to the USA, the average salary for a data analyst as a beginner is going as high as $70,000 plus per annum. For experienced professional, it is going as high as $120,000 per annum. In India, for a fresher, It is going as high as 8 lakh per annum, and for experienced professionals it is 20 lakh plus per annum. Such is the demand for data analyst. Now that we have covered every important skill, it's time for you to start working on it.
Certifications have become an essential benchmark for professional growth and recognition in the dynamic field of data analytics. They not only validate your expertise but also open doors to exciting new career opportunities. And when it comes to top-notch certifications, Simplilearn has established itself as a trusted provider of choice. So let's embark on a journey, discover the best data analyst certifications available for you. Are you eager to step into the exciting world of data analytics? Look no further than Simplilearn's postgraduate program in data analytics. This comprehensive program is designed to equip you with the essential skills and knowledge needed to thrive in this rapidly evolving field. Let's look into the extraordinary features and benefits that make this program truly stand out from the crowd. First and foremost, Simplilearn's Career Services is here to ensure that your talent are noticed by top hiring companies, giving you a competitive edge in the job market. Upon successfully completion of the program, you will receive a prestigious postgraduate program certificate, powerful testament to your commitment and expertise in the field of data analytics. This certificate holds a value that can open several career opportunities. To further enhance your learning experience, we have introduced an exclusive partnership with industry giant IBM. Through this collaboration, we bring you unparalleled opportunities such as exclusive hackathons and Ask Me Anything sessions with IBM experts. This unique expertise allows you to engage directly with industry professionals, gain invaluable insights, and tackle real-world challenges faced by data analysts. This collaboration ensures that you receive cutting-edge knowledge and stay ahead of the curve. At Simplilearn, we believe in the power of interactive learning. That's why our live online classes offer an astonishing 8x higher level of live interaction compared to other programs. Delivered by industry experts, these engaging sessions provide you with a platform to ask questions, participate in discussions, and gain practical insights that will deepen your understanding of the subject matter. One of the defining features of our program is the hands-on approach to the learning. Through our innovative applied learning model, you will have the remarkable opportunity to work on a variety of real-world projects using industry datasets for reputable sources such as Google Play Store and the World Bank. With our 14 data analytics project your belt, you will gain valuable practical experience and develop an impressive portfolio that showcases your skills to potential employers. To enrich your learning journey even further, we present masterclass delivered by esteemed faculty from Purdue and IBM experts. Their immense knowledge and expertise will provide you with the valuable insights and unique perspective, ensuring that you receive a well-rounded in data analytics. Now, you may be wondering if this program is suitable for you. The answer is yes. Our postgraduate program in data analytics is thoughtfully designed to the need of all working professionals. Whether you are an experienced data analyst looking to upskill or someone new to the field, this program is perfect fit. No prior programming knowledge is required as we cover everything from the fundamentals to advanced technologies. Throughout the program, you will acquire a wide range of skills essential for success career in data analytics. These includes data analytics, statistical analytics using Excel, data analysis with Python and R, data visualization using Tableau and Power BI, model on linear and logistic recursion, clustering using K-mean, and supervised learning technologies. Our comprehensive curriculum ensures that you are equipped with the necessary tools to excel in this rapidly growing field. So, why wait any longer? Join Simplilearn's postgraduate program in data analytics and unlock the world of opportunities. Prepare to dive deep into the realm of data analytics, collaborate with industry experts, and gain hands-on experience with real-world projects. Your journey to become a data analytics professional starts right here. So the link of this program will be in the description box below. Do check it out. and enroll now. Now, we have another professional certification course in data analytics provided by the IIT Kanpur for Indian professionals and students. Are you ready to unlock the secrets hidden within vast amount of data and gain a comprehensive edge in today's cutthroat business world? Simplilearn's Data Analyst course, delivered in collaboration with IIT Kanpur, will provide you with extensive expertise in the booming field of data analytics. This course is designed to provide a deep understanding of the principles, technologies, and applications of data analytics, empowering you to efficiently analyze, interpret, and extract the actionable insights from the data. The course follows a structured learning path that covers various aspects of data analytics, including business analytics using Excel, SQL programming foundation using Python, data analytics with R programming, and Tableau training. Some of the key features of this program includes master classes delivered by distinguished IIT Kanpur faculty, hands-on lab experience to help you master 14 plus tools and frameworks, and industry-ready projects designed to advance your career trajectory. Simplilearn's job assistance services is here to help you get noticed by top hiring companies, increasing your chances to secure a rewarding position with renowned companies like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, IBM, Goldman Sachs, and many more. Upon successful completion of the program, you will receive a professional certificate from IIT Kanpur, adding immense value to your credentials. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and embark on this transformative journey with IIT Kanpur's Data Analytics course. Unlock the boundless potential of data. Countless inspiration data analysts have benefited from the data analytics program. You can find their testimonial by following the link in the course page in the description box below.
Hi guys, this is Raul from Simplilearn, and today we're going to look at 3 very important data related roles in the field of data science, and then we're going to pit them against each other. So welcome to data scientist versus data analyst versus data engineer. Now let's have a look at what's in store for you. Firstly, we'll talk about the job descriptions, the skill sets required for each role, the salary, the roles and responsibilities, and the companies hiring for these positions. So now let's have a look at each of these roles in detail. First off, let's have a look at data scientist. Now, a data scientist is able to create machine learning based tools or processes within the company. Now, they use advanced data techniques such as clustering, division trees, neural networks, and so on, so that they can derive business conclusions. They are the senior most member in the team, which involves a data engineer as well as a data analyst. Now, they need to have in-depth knowledge of statistics, data handling, and machine learning. They also take inputs from data engineers as well as analysts so that they can formulate actionable insights for the business. Now, a data scientist also needs to have the same skills as a data analyst and an engineer, but needs to have a lot more in-depth knowledge and expertise with these skills. Next up, we have data analyst. Now, a data analyst is someone who's able to translate numeric data into a form that everyone in the organization can understand. Now, this is an entry-level position in the data analytics team. He or she needs to have technical skills in programming languages such as Python and have knowledge of tools like Excel and understand the basics of data handling, modeling, and reporting. Now, in due time, they can move up the ranks by taking up roles of data engineer and data scientist with some experience that they can accumulate over the years. And finally, we have data engineer. Now, a data engineer is someone who's involved with preparing data for analytical or operational purposes. Now, they are the intermediary between the data analyst and the data scientist. He or she needs to have a lot of experience when it comes to developing, constructing, and maintaining architectures. Now, they do generally work on big data and submit their reports to the data scientist so that they can be analyzed. Now let's have a look at the skill sets required for each of these roles. First off, we have data scientist. Now, since this role is a little more coding oriented, you need to know a great deal when it comes to programming languages. Programming languages such as Python, R, SQL, SAS, Java, and so on. Now, you also need to be well versed with frameworks in relations to big data such as Pig, Spark, and Hadoop. Speaking of Hadoop, if you want to learn more about how it works, I suggest you click on the top right corner and watch our video on what is Hadoop. Coming back, data data scientists also need to be well versed with machine learning, deep learning, and other similar technologies. Next up, we have data analyst. Now, this role is much less technical as compared to a data scientist as well as a data engineer, considering how it's entry level. Here, knowing programming languages is a great bonus. So, an idea about programming languages such as Python, R, SQL, JavaScript, SSAS, and so on is a great benefit. At the same time, you do need to be well versed with tools such as SAS Miner, Microsoft Excel, SSAS, SPSS, and so on. And finally, we have data engineer. Now, being a data engineer requires you to be well versed with a bunch of programming languages as well as frameworks. Now, you need to know about programming languages such as Python, R, SQL, SAS, Java, and so on, while having expertise in frameworks such as Hadoop, MapReduce, Hive, Pig, Apache Spark, data streaming, NoSQL, and so on. Now, let's talk about money, or the salary each of these roles get. Firstly, we have the data scientist, who earns a whopping $137,000 per annum. Then we have the data analyst, who earns $67,000 per annum, which is a pretty high salary when you consider that it's only an entry-level job. And a data engineer, which is in the median with $116,000 per annum. Now let's talk about roles and responsibilities. Firstly, we have the data scientist. Now a data scientist gets to work with a lot of unstructured data. So they need to mine and clean the data so that it's usable. They need to be able to design machine learning models to work on the big data. They need to infer and interpret the analysis on big data, to be able to lead an entire team to achieve the goals of the organization and deliver conclusions that have a direct business impact. Now let's have a look at the roles and responsibilities of a data analyst. They need to use queries to gather information from a database. They need to process the data and provide summary reports. They need to use basic algorithms for their work, such as linear regression, logistic regression, and so on, and have core skills in statistics, data munging, data visualization, and exploratory data analysis. And finally, we have data engineer. Now they need to mine through the data so that they can gain insights from it. They need to convert erroneous data into a usable form so that they can be further analyzed. They need to write queries on data. They need to maintain the design as well as architecture of the data and create large data warehouses using ETL or extract transform load. Now let's have a look at some of the companies hiring for this role. Firstly, for data scientists, you have Citibank, Facebook, Schneider, Intel, Amazon, and so on. For data analysts, you have Infosys, Oracle, Visa, Capital One, Walmart, and so on. And for data engineer, you have Google, Cisco, Flowcast, Cognizant, Apple, Spotify, and much more.
Having said that, if you're an aspiring data analyst looking for an online training and certification from prestigious universities and in collaboration with leading experts, then search no more. Simplilearn's postgraduate program in data analytics from Purdue University in collaboration with IBM should be a right choice. For more details, use the link in the description box below.
Now that we have looked at the various steps involved in data analytics, let's now see the different tools that can be used to perform the above steps. So as you can see, we have 7 tools including a few programming languages that will help you perform analytics better. Now let's discuss them one by one. First, we have Python. Python is an object-oriented open-source programming language that supports a range of libraries for data manipulation, data visualization, and data modeling. Python programmers have developed tons of free and open-source libraries that you can use. You can find many of them via the Python package index, which is pypi, the repository of Python software. Python provides the default package installer called pip or pip. Python has libraries such as NumPy for numerical computation of data, pandas to manipulate data on numerical tables and time series. Then you have SciPy for technical and scientific computations. It also provides scikit-learn, which is a machine learning library for creating classification, regression, and clustering algorithms. And finally, it also has PyTorch and TensorFlow for deep learning. Up next, we have R. R is an open source programming language majorly used for numerical and statistical analysis. It provides a range of libraries for data analysis and visualization. Some of these libraries are ggplot, tidyverse, plotly, dplyr, and caret. Then we have Tableau. Tableau is a popular data visualization and analytics tool that helps you create a range of visualizations to interactively present the data, build reports, and dashboards to showcase insights and trends. It can connect with multiple data sources and give hidden business insights and patterns. Then we have a competitor of Tableau, which is Power BI. Power BI is a business intelligence tool developed by Microsoft that has an easy drag and drop functionality and supports multiple data sources with features that make data visually appealing. Power BI supports features that help you ask questions to your data and get immediate insights. You can also forecast your data for predicting future trends. So the next tool is ClickView. ClickView provides interactive analytics with in-memory storage technology to analyze vast volumes of data and use data discoveries to support decision making. It provides social media discovery and interactive guided analytics. It can manipulate huge data sets instantly with accuracy. Up next, we have Apache Spark. Apache Spark is an open source data analytics engine to process data in real time and carry out complex analytics using SQL queries and machine learning algorithms. It supports Spark Streaming for real-time analytics and Spark SQL for writing SQL queries. It also has Spark MLlib, which is a library that has a repository of machine learning algorithms, and then it has GraphX for graphical computation. And finally, we have SAS. SAS is a statistical analysis software that can help you perform analytics, visualize your data, write SQL queries, perform statistical analysis, and build machine learning models to make future predictions. SAS empowers our customers to move the world forward by transforming data into intelligence. SAS is investing a lot to drive software innovation for analytics. Gartner has positioned SAS as a Magic Quadrant leader for data science and machine learning. Moving on to the applications of data analytics. Data analytics is being used in almost every sector of business these days. Let's discuss a few of them. First, we have retail. Customers expect retailers to understand exactly what they need and when they need it. Data analytics helps retailers meet those demands. Retailers not only have an in-depth understanding of their customers, but they can also predict trends, recommend new products, and boost profitability. Retailers create assortments based on customer preferences, invoke the most relevant engagement strategy for each customer, optimize supply chain and retail operations at every step of the customer journey. The second application is on healthcare. Healthcare industries analyze patient data to provide life-saving diagnosis and treatment options. They also deal with healthcare plans and insurance information to drive key insights. Using analytics, they can discover new drugs and come up with new drug development methods. Advanced analytics allows healthcare companies to improve patient outcomes and experience. Cancer cells and diabetic retinopathy can be discovered using medical imaging. At number 3, we have manufacturing. For manufacturers, solving problem is nothing new. They fight with difficult problems and situations on a daily basis. From complex supply chains to motion applications to labor constraints and equipment breakdowns, they deal with such problems on a regular basis. Using data analytics, manufacturing sectors can discover new cost-saving and revenue opportunities. The fourth application is related to the banking sector. Banking and financial institutions collect vast volumes of structured and unstructured data to derive analytical insights and make sound financial decisions. Using analytics, they can find out probable loan defaulters, customer churn-out rate, and detect fraudulent transactions immediately. The final application is based on logistics. Logistics companies use data analytics to develop new business models that can ease their business and improve productivity. They can optimize routes to ensure delivery reaches on time in a cost-efficient manner. They also focus on improving order processing capabilities as well as performance management. With that, now let's look at the companies using data analytics on a daily basis. So we have the e-commerce giant Amazon, then we have Accenture, followed by the American Healthcare Service Organization, Cigna, Then we have the American supplier of health information technology solutions, services, devices and hardware, Cerner, followed by Target and antivirus company McAfee. Next, we have Rapido, which is an Indian bike rental company based in Bangalore. After that, we have Flipkart and the world's largest retail company, Walmart. With that, let's understand a case study from Walmart and how it uses data analytics to grow its business and serve its customers better. Walmart is an American multinational retail company that has over 11,500 stores in 27 countries worldwide, and it has e-commerce websites in 10 different countries. It has more than 5,900 retail units operating outside the United States with 55 banners in 26 countries with more than 7 lakh associates serving more than 100 million customers every week. It has over 2.2 million employees around the world and 1.5 million employees in the United States alone. Walmart's e-commerce branch alone employs more than 3,000 technologists from Silicon Valley to India, England and South America. More than 240 million customers shop at Walmart each week online and at its banner stores. Walmart.com sees up to 100 million unique visitors a month according to ComScore and is growing every year. Walmart collects over 2.5 petabytes of data from 1 million customers every hour. That's really huge. Now, to make sense of all this information, Walmart has created Data Cafe, a state-of-the-art analytics hub located within its Bentonville, Arkansas headquarters. Here, over 200 streams of internal and external data, including 40 petabytes of recent transactional data, can be modeled, manipulated, and visualized. Teams from any part of the business are invited to bring their problems to the analytics experts and then see a solution appear before their eyes on the Nerve Center's touchscreen smartboards. Walmart also constantly analyzes over 100 million keywords to know what people near each store are saying on social media to understand the customer behavior on what they like and dislike. Walmart uses modern tools and technologies to derive business insights and improve customer satisfaction. Some of these tools include Python, SAS, NoSQL databases such as Cassandra and Hadoop. Now, using all these technologies and data analysis techniques, Walmart can better manage its supply chain, optimize product assortment, personalize the shopping experience, give relevant product recommendations, and finally, optimize and analyze transportation lanes and routes for its fleet of trucks. With that, let's jump into our use case demo where we will predict the sales based on advertising expenditure using the linear regression model in R. The advertising expenditure has been made via different mediums such as radio, television, and newspaper. We will use the R programming software to implement the demo. So why R? Well, R is a free and open source software that can be downloaded from the RCRAN website. It is easy to learn and use. Our language is built specifically for performing statistical analysis, data manipulation, and data mining using packages such as Plier, dplyr, tidyr, and lubridate. R supports data visualization with the help of packages such as ggplot, Google Viz, R Color Brewer, Leaflet, and ggmap. And finally, the R software can be used in a wide range of analytical modeling including classical statistical tests, linear and nonlinear modeling, data clustering, time series analysis, and more. Now, let's have a look at our data that we will be using for this demo. Here is our advertising CSV dataset, which has 4 columns. You can see there's TV ads expenditure. The next column is for radio ads. Then we have the newspaper ads. And the last column is our target column, that is the sales. So the data set has in total 200 rows. Now, to understand the data, let me give an example. So consider the second row. So suppose you spend around $230 on TV ads, then $37.8 on radio ads, and $69.2 in newspaper ads. You can expect to sell nearly 22 units of a particular product. Similarly, if you are spending $44.5 in TV advertising, $39.3 in radio ads, and $45 in newspaper ads, you can sell around 10 units of certain item. We will analyze this data using linear regression. So linear regression is a supervised learning algorithm, which means the data has labeled columns and is used to predict numeric continuous variables. So our sales column here is the target column and it has continuous numeric variables. Now let me go to the RStudio and start with the demo. So first, I'll create a new file, then I'll select R script. The next step is to install all the necessary packages that we need for this demo. If you already have the packages installed in your RStudio, you need not do it again. You can just call these packages using the library function and pass the package names. So first, I will install the dplyr package, which is used for data manipulation. I'll be using install.packages function and I'll give the package name. So I'll type install.packages. If you hit tab, it will autocomplete. Then under quotations, I'll write dplyr. I'm not going to run this because I already have it installed in my RStudio. The next step, I'll call this package using library function. I'll give the package name dplyr. I'll run this. Then I'll install the broom package. It takes the messy output of built-in functions in R such as linear model or LM, then t-test, and turns them into a tidy data frame. So I'll copy the above code. I'll just paste it again. I'll change it to broom. Here also I'll change it to broom. I'll run this. Okay. Then I'll be installing the CA tools package, which will help us build our linear regression model. I'll paste the same code and I'll take CA tools and I'll call that using the library function. I'll run this. Now sometimes people face issues with installing this particular package. If you also face this problem, do visit the RStudio community page. Now let me show it to you. So this is the RStudio community page and here they have the solution. You can just go through this 2 pages. Alright. After this, I will install the ggplot2 package, which is a very popular package in R for data visualization. I'm not running install.packages because I have already installed all these packages before. If you have not, so you have to run install.packages first and then call the library function. With that, let's now load the dataset. For this, I will use the read.csv function and provide the path location where my data is located, followed by the dataset name and the extension. I'll assign the loaded dataset to a variable. Let me now go ahead and show you where my dataset is located. So here is my advertising CSV dataset and this is the location. I'll copy this location. I'll move back to RStudio and let me comment this line, load the dataset. So I'll take a variable name ads and then using read.csv function. I'll pass the path location where the dataset is present. Now one thing to note is we have to change all the backslash to forward slash, otherwise R won't accept it. And finally, I'll give the dataset name, which is advertising.csv. Let me run it. Okay, we have successfully loaded our dataset. Now let us look at how our dataset looks like using the head function. So I'll give a comment, display the head of the dataset. I'll be using the head function and I'll pass ads. Run it. So you can see the head function has displayed the first 6 rows from the advertising dataset. Let me now check the dimensions of the dataset. So I'll use the dim function. It will give you the total rows and columns present in the dataset. Give a comment, check the dimensions. I'll use the dim function and I'll pass in the ads variable. You can see it has given the number of rows, which is 200, and the total columns, which is 4. Now, if you want to get a summary of the dataset, you can use the summary function. So I'll directly type in summary and I'll give ads. Let me expand this. So actually summary function gives you information about a few statistics for each of the columns. So you can see the minimum value for each column, the maximum value for each column, the mean, the median, first quartile and the third quartile values. The first quartile or lower quartile is the value that cuts off the first 25% of the data when it is sorted in ascending order. The second quartile is the median, which has the value that cuts off the first 50%. And the third quartile or the upper quartile is the value that cuts off the first 75% of data. Moving ahead, let's do some data visualization now to visualize our data. Since our data has only numeric values, using scatter plots would be the best option. So we will visualize our sales against each of the independent variables. For that, I will use the plot function and give sales in my x-axis and the independent variable names in the y-axis. Let me now do that. So I'll give a comment, data visualization. First, I'll use the plot function, and then in x-axis using the dollar symbol, I'll give sales. Then in the y-axis, I'll give my independent variable. You can see R is automatically giving you the suggestions. I'll select TV. Then I'll take type is equal to, under quotes, I'll give P, which stands for points, and I'll take the color as red. So you can see under plots we have our scatter plot. If I zoom in, you can see the red dots are pretty much aligned in one direction, which means if you are increasing the expenditure on TV ads, the units sold are also increasing equally. So the more you spend on TV ads, the more sales you can expect. I'll close it. Now let's look at how sales vary based on radio advertising expenditure. I'll copy this, paste it, and under y-axis I'll change it to radio, and I'll take the color now as, let's say, blue color. I'll run it. Now if I to zoom in, now if you look at the blue dots, it is not that linear compared to our previous graph. You can see there are a few data points like this that show the sales were not good even after spending decent money on radio ads. But still you can expect a decent amount of sales if you are willing to spend on radio advertising. Close it. Let's now look at how sales will vary based on the newspaper advertising expenditure. I'll change the radio to newspaper column, and this time I'll take color as green. I'll run it. Let me zoom in. You can see the plots are very haphazardly present. The data is completely non-linear, and there seems to be a low correlation between the sales and newspaper advertising expenditure. Now if you want to look at these plots at a time, you can use the pairs function. So I'll type pairs and then pass in my variable name, which is ads. I'll run it. Let me zoom in. So this is our plot, and you can see this has all the visualizations. So you can see the TV sales. Now you can see the sales that were made with radio expenditure and with the newspaper expenditure as well. I'll close it. Moving ahead, let's check the correlation between the variables and see what insight we can get. We will use the core function or COR function and build a correlation matrix. First, let me go ahead and install the core plot package. So I'll give a comment, correlation analysis. For this, I will have to install the core plot package. I have already got it installed. Then I'll call this function using library. I'll run it. You can see core plot, the version has been uploaded. Now I'll tell you how you can grab only the numeric columns. Now our data only has numeric columns, but still let me tell you how you can do it. Since correlations are based on numeric columns only, this can be done using the sapply function. So for that we have already installed the dplyr library. I'll give a variable name as num.calls, which is numeric columns. Then I'll pass in the sapply function. I'll give the ads variable and I'll check if the variable is numeric or not. So I'll use is.numeric. Let me run it. And now let's display what's there in num.calls. You can see it says TV. It's true, which means TV has numeric values. Even radio has numeric values. Similarly for newspaper and sales also. Then I'll use the correlation function, which is COR, to display the correlations between the variables. So I'll give my variable name as cor.data, and then I'll take the core function, pass in the ads variable, and I'll only filter out the numeric columns. So comma numeric columns means we need all the rows and the selected columns. Let me run it. And now to display, let me call cor.data again. So this is our correlation output. As you can see, the correlation values are all above 0, which means there is a positive correlation between the variables, and a change in one of the independent variables will have a positive impact on the sales numbers. TV ads have the maximum correlation with sales and the value is around 0.78. Then there is radio advertising, which has correlation of about 0.57 with sales, and newspaper ads have the lowest correlation compared to the other two, which is at 0.22. Now you can also build a correlation matrix using the correlation plot method. This will give you a visual representation of the correlation between the variables. So let's see how we can do that. I'll type core plot and I'll give core.data and I'll pass a method as color. If I zoom in, you can see this is our correlation matrix. On the right, you can see the scale. So -1 is for negative correlation. Then there's light red, 0, which is almost white color. Then there's light blue, and finally dark blue for the maximum positive correlation. The diagonals are dark blue, which represents the same variables as in rows and in columns. So it's dark blue. TV ads and radio ads have the next highest correlation, while newspaper ads have the lowest correlation with sales. With that, let's jump into the most important part of this analysis, which is building our regression model. First, we will look at a simple linear regression model where we will take one input variable, that is TV ads. I'll be using the LM function or the linear model function to build the model. So I'll give a comment, simple linear regression. I'll take a variable name as model underscore simple, and then using LM function I'll give my target variable, which is sales, and using tilde I'll give my independent variable, which is TV, and data as ads. I'll run it. Now that we have built our linear regression model, let's check the summary. Take summary function and I'll pass in model underscore simple. Let me run it. Now if I expand this, you can see our intercept estimate is around 7.03. So when the TV advertising budget is 0, we can expect sales to be around 7030 or 7030. Also remember, we are operating in units of 1000, and for every $1000 increase in the TV advertising budget, we can expect the average increase in sales to be around 47 units. Now the same summary can be checked using the tidy function present in the Broom package. So if I call tidy and I'll give the model name, which is model underscore simple, I'll run it. So there you go. This gives us a tidy representation of the summary figures. Now let's build a regression model with more than one input variable. So we'll build a multiple linear regression. model. I'll take my variable name as model underscore multiple this time, and I'll use the same lm function. I'll pass in the sales, and using tilde I'll take all the column names. Stevie, then I'll use an addition operator, then I'll take in newspaper, followed by the radio column, and then I'll take my data as ads. Let's run it. I'll follow the same drill. Let me now call the summary function over this newly created model. So I'll write summary, and I'll select my model name as model underscore multiple. Let me run it. So the interpretation of our coefficients is the same as in simple linear regression model. First, we see that our coefficients for TV and radio advertising budget are statistically significant, since our p-value is less than 0.05, while the coefficient of newspaper is not, which is around 0.86. Thus, changes in the newspaper budget does not appear to have any relationship with changes in sales. However, for TV ads, our coefficient suggests that for every $1,000 increase in TV advertising budget, holding any other predictors constant, we can expect an increase in sales of 45 units on average. Similarly, the radio coefficient suggests that for every $1,000 increase in radio advertising, holding all the other predictors constant, we can expect an increase of 188 sales units on an average. Now you can also call the tidy function over this multiple linear regression model. So let me do that. I'll call tidy, and I'll pass in model underscore multiple. You can see it has given the output. Now you can also find the coefficients of the model using another method. It's called the coefficient matrix. Here is how you can do that. So take a variable name, and I'll use the summary function. I'll pass in model underscore multiple, and using the dollar symbol I'll take the parameter as coefficient. Let me call C coefficient now. So these are the coefficients of different variables. Let me now show you another example of how you can train a linear regression model using the CA-Tools library. First, I'll take a seed value, a random seed value of say 101. Next, I will split the data into training and testing sets. I'll take 70% for training the data and 30% for testing the data. So I'll use a variable sample, then I'll call sample.split, take ads, and then I'll use another parameter called split ratio, and I'll take the split ratio as 0.7, which is 70%. I'll run it, and then I'll use another variable called train and take the subset of the sample, pass in my ads variable, and I'll select sample is equal to true. Similarly, I'll take another variable called test. I'll use my subset function and given the same parameters, but this time I'll take sample is equal to false, which means the test sample dataset won't have any values that are present in train dataset. I'll run it. Now we will use the same lm function to create our model. So I'll take model as my variable and assign it to lm function. So I'll assign the linear model to the model variable. I'll take sales as my target column, use the tilde followed by a dot, which means I'm taking all the variables in terms of the independent variables, and then I'll select my train dataset. With that, let's check the summary as well. So this is the summary of our newly created model. Now you can also check the residual collector from the trained model using the residuals function. Let me go ahead and assign a variable called res for residual, and I'll use the residuals function. Pass in my model. Then I'll convert the residuals into a data frame. So I'll use the as.dataframe function and pass in res. Now you can check the residuals. So these are the residual values. Now it's time to make our predictions using the test dataset. I'll use the predict function for this. Let me take another variable called sales.predictions and I'll use the predict function, pass in my model followed by the test dataset. Now I'll run it. Then let me call sales.prediction to display the values. As you can see, these are my predicted sales values. Now let me combine these predicted sales values to our original sales for the test data. For that, I'll use the cbind function and pass the column names. I'll take another variable called results and use the cbind function. I'll take sales.predictions and I'll consider the sales column from the test data. Let me check the values now. So you have the predicted sales values and the original values of sales, but you can see the columns don't have any name assigned to them. So let me go ahead and assign the column names using the call names function and convert it into a data frame to make it look better. So I'll use the call names function and pass in my results variable. Then I'll take a vector and give the column names as spread for predicted values and let's say real for the original values. We run it. Now I'll convert this into a data frame. So I'll use as.data.frame and give my results variable. Now if I display results, you can see, go on top, you can see the columns have been assigned successfully. So on the left you have the predicted values and on the right you have the real values. So we have successfully built our linear regression model and predicted the sales values using linear regression in R. You can also go ahead and find the accuracy of this model to know how good your model is. We won't be covering that as part of this tutorial. I'll leave it for you and encourage you to do some research on how you can find the accuracy of a linear regression model. You will come across terms such as mean squared error, root mean squared error, and R squared value. If you are able to find the accuracy, please post the results in the comment section, or if you face any issues with it, please post your queries. We'll be happy to help you.
Having said that, if you're an aspiring data analyst looking for an online training and certification from prestigious universities and in collaboration with leading experts, then search no more. Simplilearn's postgraduate program in data analytics from Purdue University in collaboration with IBM should be a right choice. For more details, use the link in the description box below.
Let's start with our first question. What is the difference between data mining and data profiling? It's real important to note that data mining is a process of finding relevant information which has not been found before. It is a way in which raw data is turned into valuable information. You can think of this as anything from the sales stats and from their SQL server all the way to web scraping and Census Bureau information. Where the heck do you mine it from? Where do you get all this data and information? Then we look at data profiling is usually done to assess a data set for its uniqueness, consistency, and logic. It cannot identify incorrect or inaccurate data values. So if somebody has a statistical analysis on one side and they're doing you might the wrong data to then program your data setup. So you got to be aware that when you're talking about data mining, you need to look at the integrity of what you're bringing in, where it's coming from. Data profiling is looking at it and saying, hey, how is this going to work? What's the logic? What's the consistency? Is it related to what I'm working with? Define the term data wrangling and data analytics. Data wrangling is a process of cleaning, structuring, and enriching the raw data into a desired usable format for better decision making. And you can see a nice chart here with our Discover It. We structure the data how we want it. We clean it up, get rid of all those null values. We enrich it, so we might take and reformat some of the settings. Instead of having 5 different terms for height of somebody, in American, English, or whatever, we clean some of that up, and we might do a calculation and bring some of them together. And validate. I was just talking about that in the last one. You need to validate your data. Make sure you have a solid data source. And then, of course, it goes into the analysis. Very important to notice here in data wrangling, 80% of data analytics is usually in this whole part of wrangling the data, getting it to fit correctly. And don't confuse that with data cooking, which is actually when you're going into neural networks, cooking the data so it's all between 0 and 1 values. What are common problems that data analysts encounter during analysis? Handling duplicate and missing values, collecting the meaningful right data the right time, making data secure and dealing with compliance issues, handling data purging and storage problems. Again, we're talking about data wrangling here. 80% of most jobs are in wrangling that data and getting it in the right format and making sure it's good data to use. Number 4, what are the various steps involved in any analytics project? Understand the problem. We might spend 80% doing wrangling, but you better be ready to understand the problem, because if you can't, you're going to spend all your time in the wrong direction. This is probably the most important part of the process. Everything after it falls in, and then you can come back to it. 2, data collection, data cleaning. Number 3, 4, data exploration analysis, and 5, interpret the results. Number 5 is a close second for being the most important. If you can't interpret what you bring to the table to your clients, you're in trouble. So when this question comes up, you probably want to focus on those 2, noting that the rest of it does, 80% of the work is in 2, 3, and 4, while 1 and 5 are the most important parts. Which technical tools have you used for analysis and presentation purposes? Being a data analyst, you are expected to have knowledge of the below tools for analysis and presentation purposes. There's a wide variety out there. SQL Server, MySQL, you have your Excel, your SPSS, which is the IBM platform, Tableau, Python. You have all these different tools in here. Now, certainly a lot of jobs are going to be narrowed in on just a few of these tools. Like you're not going to have a Microsoft SQL Server and MySQL Server, but you better understand how to do basic SQL polls, and also understanding Excel and how the different formats for column and how to get those set up. Number 6, what are the best practices for data cleaning? This is really important to remember to go through this in detail. These always come up because 80% of most data analysis is in cleaning the data up. Make a data cleaning plan by understanding where the common errors take place and keep communications open. Identify and remove duplicates before working with the data. This will lead to an effective data analysis process. Focus on the accuracy of the data, maintain the value types of data, provide mandatory constraints, and set cross-field validation. Standardize the data at the point of entry so that it is less chaotic, and you will be able to ensure that all the information is standardized, leading to fewer errors on entry. Number 7, how can you handle missing values in a data set? Listwise deletion. In listwise deletion method, entire record is excluded from analysis if any single value is missing. Sometimes we're talking about records. Remember, this could be a single line in a database. So if you have your SQL comes back and you have 15 different columns, every one of those that has a missing value, you might just drop it just to make it easy because you already have enough data to do the processing. Average imputation. Use the average value of the responses from the other participants to fill in the missing value. This is really useful, and they'll ask you why these are useful, I guarantee it. If you have a whole group of data that's collected and it doesn't have that information in it, at that point you might average it in there. Regression substitution. You can use multiple regression analysis to estimate a missing value. That kind of goes with the average imputation input. Regression model means you're just going to actually generate a prediction as to what you think that value should be for those people based on the ones you do have. Multiple imputation. So when we talk about multiple inputs, it creates plausible values based on the correlations for the missing data, and then average the simulated data sets by incorporating random errors in your predictions. What do you understand by the term normal distribution? And the second you hear the word normal distribution, should be thinking a bell curve like we see here. Normal distribution is a type of continuous probability distribution that is symmetric about the mean, and in the graph, normal distribution will appear as a bell curve. The mean, median, and mode are equal. That's a quick way to know if you have normal distribution, is you can compute mean, median, and mode. All of them are located at the center of the distribution. 68% of the data lies within one standard deviation of the mean. 95% of the data falls within 2 standard deviations of the mean. 99.7% of the data lies within 3 standard deviations of the mean. What is time series analysis? Time series analysis is a statistical method that deals with ordered sequence of values of a variable of equally spaced time intervals. Time series data on a COVID-19 cases. And you can see we're looking at by days, so our space is of days, and each day goes by. If we take and graph it, you can see a time series graph always looks really nice if you have like 2 different, in this case we have the United States going over there. I'd have to look at the other setup in there, but they picked a couple different countries. And it's time sensitive. The next result is based on what the last one was. COVID's an excellent example of this. Anytime you do any word analytics where you're figuring out what someone's saying, what they said before makes a huge difference as to what they're going to say next. Another form of time series analysis. 10. How is joining different from blending in Tableau? So now we're going to jump into the Tableau package. Data joining. Data joining can only be done when the data comes from the same source. Combining 2 tables from the same database or 2 or more worksheets from the same Excel file. All the combined tables or sheets contains common set of dimensions and measures. Data blending. Data blending is used when the data is from 2 or more different sources. Combining the Oracle table with the SQL server, or 2 sheets from Excel, or combining Excel sheet and Oracle table. In data blending, each data source contains its own set of dimensions and measures. How is overfitting different from underfitting? Always a good one. Overfitting. probably the biggest danger in data analytics today is overfitting. Model trains from the data too well using the training set. The performance drops significantly over the test set. It happens when the model learns the noise and random fluctuations in the training data set in detail. And again, the performance drops way below what the test set has. The model neither trains the data well nor can generalize to new data. Performs poorly both on train and the test set. Happens when there is less data to build and an accurate model, and also when we try to build a linear model with a nonlinear data. In Microsoft Excel, a numeric value can be treated as a text value if it proceeds with an apostrophe. Definitely not an exclamation. If you're used to programming in Python, you'll look for that hash code, and not an amber sign. And we can see here, if you enter the value 10 into a field, but you put the apostrophe in front of it, it will read that as a text, not as a number. What is the difference between count, count A, count blank, and count if in Excel? We can see here when we run in just count, D1 through D23, we get 19. And you'll notice that there is 19 numbers coming down here. And so it doesn't count the cost of each, which is the top bracket. It doesn't count the blank spaces either with the straight count. When you do a count A, you'll get the answer is 20. So now when you do count A, it counts all of them, even the title cost of each. When you do count blank, we'll get 3. Why? There's 3 blank fields. And finally, the count if. If we do count if of E1 to E23 is greater than 10, there's 11 values in there. Basic counting of whatever's in your column, pretty solid on the table there. Explain how VLOOKUP works in Excel. VLOOKUP is used when you need to find things in a table or arrange by row. The syntax has 4 different parts to it. We have our lookup value, that's a value you want to look up. We have our table array, the range where the lookup value is located, column index number, the column number and range that contains the return value, and the range lookup. Specify true if you want an approximate match or false if you want an exact match of the return value. So here we see VLOOKUP F3 A2 to C8 2, 0 for prints. Now they don't show the F3. F3 is the actual cell that prints is in. That's what we're looking at is F3. So there's your prints. He pulls in from F3. A2 to C8 is the data we're looking into. And then number 2 is a column in that data. So in this case we're looking for age. And we count name as 1, age as 2. Keep in mind this is Excel versus a lot of your Python and programming languages where you start at 0. In Excel, we always look at the cells as 1, 2, 3. So 2 represents the age. 0 is false for having an exact matchup versus 1. We don't actually need to worry about that too much in this. 0 or 1 would work with this example. And you can see with the Angela lookup, again, her name would be in the F column number 4. That's what the F4 stands for, is where they pulled Angela from. And then you have A1 to C8, and then we're looking at number 3. So number 3 is height, name being 1, age 2, and then height 3. And you'll see here it pulls in her height, 5.8. So we're going to jump over to SQL. How do you subset or filter data in SQL? To subset or filter data in SQL, we use where and having clause. And you can see we have a nice table on the left where we have the title, the director, the year, the duration. We want to filter the table for movies that were directed by Brad Bird. Why? Just because we want to know what Brad Bird did. So we're going to do select star. You should know that the star refers to all. In this case, what are we going to return? We're going to return all title, director, year, and duration. That's what we mean by all. From movies, movies being our table, where director equals Brad Bird. And you can see he comes back and he did The Incredible on Ratatouille. To subset or filter data SQL, we can also use the where and having clause. So we're going to take a closer look at the different ways we can filter here. Filter the table for directors whose movies have an average duration greater than 115 minutes. So there's a lot of really cool things into this SQL query, and these SQL queries can get pretty crazy. Select director sum duration as total duration, average duration as average duration from movies, group by director having average duration greater than 115. So again, what are we going to return? We're going to return whatever we put in our select, which in this case is director. We're going to have total duration, and that's going to be the sum of the duration. We're going to have the average duration, average underscore duration, which is going to be the average duration on there. And then we, of course, go ahead and group by director. And we want to make sure we group them by anyone that has having an average duration greater than 115. These SQL queries are so important. I don't know how many times the SQL comes up, and there's so many different other languages, not just MySQL and not Microsoft SQL, but in addition to that, where the SQL language comes in, especially with Hadoop and other areas. So you really should know your basic SQL. Doesn't hurt to get that little cheat sheet and glance over it and double check some of the different features in SQL. What is the difference between where and having clause in SQL? Where clause works on row data. In where clause, the filter occurs before any groupings are made. Aggregate functions cannot be used. So the syntax is select your columns from table where what the condition is. Having clause works on aggregated data. Having is used to filter values from a group. Aggregate functions can be used. And the syntax is select column names from table where the condition is, grouped by, having a condition ordered by column names. What is the correct syntax for reshape function in NumPy? So we're going to jump to the NumPy array program, and what you come up with is you have, in this case it'd be numpy.reshape. A lot of times you do an import NumPy as np, reshape, and then your array and the new shape. And you can see here as the actual example comes in, the reshape is A, and we're going to reshape it in 2, 5 setups. And you can see the printout in there that prints in 2 rows with 5 values in each one. What are the different ways to create a data frame in Pandas? Well, we can do it by initializing a list. So you can import your pandas as PD, very common. Data equals Tom 30, Jerry 20, Angela 35. We'll go ahead and create the data frame, and we'll say pd.dataframe is the data, columns equals name and age. So you can designate your columns. You can also designate index in there. You should always remember that the index, in this case, maybe you want the index instead of 1, 2 to be the date they signed up, or who knows, whatever. And you can see right there, it just generates a nice pandas data frame with Tom, Jerry, and Angela. Another way you can initialize a data frame is from dictionary. You can see here we have a dictionary where the date equals name, Tom, Jerry, Angela, Mary. Age is 20, 21, 19, 18. And if we do a df pd.dataframe on the data, you'll get the same kind of setup. You get your name, age, Tom, Jerry, Angela, and Mary. Write the Python code to create an employee's data frame from the emp.csv file and display the head and summary of it. To create a data frame in Python, you need to import the pandas library and use the read CSV function to load the CSV file. And here you can see we have import pandas as PD, employees, or the data frame employees, equals pd.readcsv, and then you have your path to that CSV file. There's a number of settings in the read CSV where you can tell it how many rows are the top index. You can set the columns in there. You can have skip rows. There's all kinds of things. You can also go in there and double check with your read CSV, but the most basic one is just to read a basic CSV. How will you select the department and age columns from an employee's data frame? So we have import pandas as PD. You can see we have created our data. We will go ahead and create our employees PD data frame on the left. And then on the right, to select department and age from the data frame, we just do employees, and then you put the brackets around it. Now, if you're just doing one column, you could do just department. But if you're doing multiple columns, you got to have those in a second set of brackets. So it's got to be a reference with a list within the reference. What is the criteria to say whether a developed data model is good or not? A good model should be intuitive, insightful, and self-explanatory. Follow the old saying, KISS, keep it simple. The model developed should be able to easily consumed by the clients for actionable and profitable results. So if they can't read it, what good is it? A good model should easily adapt to changes according to business requirements. We live in quite a dynamic world nowadays, so that's pretty self-evident. And if the data gets updated, the model should be able to scale accordingly to the new data. So you have a nice data pipeline going where when you get new data coming in, you don't have to go and rewrite the whole code. What is the significance of exploratory data analysis? Exploratory data analysis is an important step in any data analysis process. Exploratory data analysis, EDA, helps to understand the data better. It helps you obtain confidence in your data to a point where you're ready to engage a machine learning algorithm. It allows you to refine your selection of feature variables that will be used later for model building. You can discover hidden trends and insights from the data. How do you treat outliers in a data set? An outlier is a data point that is distant from other similar points. They may be due to variability in the measurement or may indicate experimental errors. One, you can drop the outlier records. Pretty straightforward. You can cap your outliers data so it doesn't go past a certain value. You can assign it a new value. You can also try a new transformation to see if those outliers come in if you transform it slightly differently. Explain descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. Descriptive provides insights into the past to answer what has happened. Uses data aggregation and data mining techniques. Examples: an ice cream company can analyze how much ice cream was sold, which flavors were sold, and whether more or less ice cream was sold than before. Predictive understands the future to the answer, what could happen. Uses statistical models and forecasting techniques. Example: predicts the sale of ice creams during the summer, spring, and rainy days. So this is always interesting because you have your descriptive, which comes in, and your businesses are always looking to know what happened. Hey, did we have good sales last quarter? What are we expecting next quarter in the sales? And we have a huge jump when we do prescriptive. Suggest various courses of action to answer what should you do. Uses optimization and simulation algorithms to advise possible outcomes. Example: lower prices to increase sale of ice creams, produce more or less quantities of certain flavor of ice cream. And we can certainly, today's world with the COVID virus, because we had that on our earlier graph, you could see that as a descriptive. What's happened? How many people have been infected? How many people have died in an area? Predictive: where do we predict that to go? Do we see it going to get worse? Is it going to get better? What do we predict that we're going to need in hospital beds? And prescriptive: what can we change in our setup to have a better outcome? Maybe if we did more social distancing, if we tracked the virus. How do these different things directly affect the end, and can we create a better ending by changing some underlying criteria? What are the different types of sampling techniques used by data analysts? Sampling is a statistical method to select a subset of data from an entire data set, population, to estimate the characteristics of the whole population. One, we can do a simple random sampling, so we can just pick out 500 random people in the United States to sample them. We call it a population. In regular data, we also call that a population, just because that's where it came from, was mainly from doing census. Systematic sampling, cluster sampling, stratified sampling, and judgment or purposive sampling. Then we have our systematic sampling. That's where you're doing like using 1, 5, 10, 15, 20. Use a very systematic approach for pulling samples from the setup. Cluster sampling. That's where we look at it and we say, hey, some of these things just naturally group together. If you were talking about population, which is really a nice way of looking at this, cluster sampling would be maybe by zip code. We're going to do everybody's zip code and just naturally cluster it that way. Stratified sampling would be more looking for shared things a group has, like income. So if you're studying something on poverty, you might look at their naturally group people based on income to begin with, and then study those individuals in the income to find out what kind of traits they have. And then judgmental. That is where the researcher very carefully selects each member of their own group. So it's very much based on their personal knowledge. Jumping on to 26, what are the different types of hypothesis testing? Hypothesis testing is a procedure used by statisticians and scientists to accept or reject statistical hypothesis. We start with the hypothesis testing. We have null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. On the null hypothesis, it states that there is no relation between the predictor and the outcome variables in the population. It is denoted by H0. Example, there is no association between patients, BMI, and diabetes. Alternative hypothesis, it states there is some relation between the predictor and outcome variables in the population. It is denoted by H1. Example, there could be an association between patients' BMI and diabetes. And that's the body mass index, if you didn't catch the BMI and you're not in medical. Describe univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis. A univariate analysis, it is the simplest form of data analysis where the data being analyzed contains only one variable. An example is studying the heights of players in the NBA. Because it's so simple, it can be described using central tendencies, dispersion, quartiles, bar charts, histograms, pie charts, frequency distribution tables. The bivariate analysis, it involves analysis of two variables to find causes, relationships, and correlations between the variables. Example, analyzing sale of ice creams based on the temperature outside. Bivariate analysis can be explained using correlation coefficients, linear regression, logistic regression, scatter plots, and box plots. And multivariate analysis, it involves analysis of three or more variables to understand the relationship of each variable with the other variables. Example, analyzing revenue based on expenditure. So if we have our TV ads, we have our newspaper ads, our social media ads, and our revenue, we can now compare all those together. The multivariate analysis can be performed using multiple regression, factor analysis, classification and regression trees, cluster analysis, principal component analysis, clustering bar chart, dual axis chart. What function would you use to get the current date and time in Excel? In Excel, you can use the today and now function to get the current date and time. And you can see down here with the two examples where just equals today or equals now. Using the SUMIFS function in Excel, find the total quantity sold by sales representatives whose names start with A and the cost of each item they have sold is greater than 10. And you can see here on the left we have our actual table, and then we want to go ahead and SUMIFS. So we want the E2 through E20, B2 through B20 greater than 10. And this basically is just saying, hey, we're going to take everything in the E column and we're going to sum it up, but only those objects where the D column is greater than 10. That's what that means there. Is the below query correct? If not, how will you rectify it? Select customer ID, year, order date as order year from order where order year is greater than or equal to 2016. And hopefully you caught it right there. It's in the devil's in the details. We can't not use the alias name while filtering data using the where clause. So the correct format is all the same except for where it says where the year order date is greater than or equal to 16 versus using the order year, which we assign under the select setup. How are union, intersect, and except used in SQL? The union operator is used to combine the results of two or more select statements. And you can see here we have select star from region 1. We're going to make a union with select star from region 2. And it basically takes both these SQL tables and combines them to form a full new table on there. So that's your union as we bring everything together. When we look at the intersect operator, returns the common records that are the result of the two or more select statements. So you can see here we select star from region 1, intersect, select star from region 2, and we come up with only those records that are shared, that have the same data in them. And hopefully you jumped ahead to the except. The except operator returns the uncommon records that are the result of two or more select statements. So these are the two records, or the records that are not shared between the two databases. Using the product price table, write an SQL query to find the record with the fourth highest market price. So here we have a little bit of a brain teaser. They're always fun. And the first thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and if you look at the script on the left, we really want the fourth one down. So we're going to select the top 4 from product price. But we're going to order it by market price descending. SP order by market price ascending. So what we do is we take the top 4 of the market price ascending, and that's going to give us the 4 greatest values. And then we're going to reverse that order and do descending. And we're going to take the top one of that, which is going to give us the lowest value, which will be the 4th greatest one in the list. From the product price table, find the total and average market price for each currency where the average market price is greater than 100 and currency is in the INR or the AUD. So INR or AUD, India Rupee or Australia dollar. You can see over here the SQL query. If you had trouble putting this together, you might actually do some of it in reverse. And you can see right here where the average market price is greater than 50. Remember, we use having, not where, at the end because it's part of the group. So group by currency, because we want those two currencies. And we want the currency India Rupee, the INR or the AUD. And as you keep going backwards, we're actually going to be selecting the currency, the sum of the market price as total price, and the average market price as average price. So there's our select. It's going to come from the product price, which is just our table over there, and then we have where our currency is in. And like I said, you can put it together however you want, but hopefully you got to the end there. So this question will test your knowledge in Tableau, exploring the different features of Tableau, and creating a suitable graph to solve a business problem. And of course, Tableau is very visual in its use, so it's very hard to test it without actually just getting your hands on. And if you can't visualize some of this and how to do it, then you should go back and refresh yourself. Using the sample superstore dataset, create a view to analyze the sales, profits, and quantities sold across different subcategories of items present under each category. So the first step is to go ahead and load the sample superstore dataset. So make sure you know how to load the sample, the superstore dataset. That's underneath either the connect button in the upper left or the Tableau icon up there, and be able to pull in the dataset. And then once you've done that, you just drag the category and subcategory on rows and salaries onto columns. It will result in a horizontal bar chart. So in this one, we're just going to drag profit onto color and quantity onto label. Sort the sales axes in descending order of sum and sales within each subcategory. And if you're at home doing this, you'll see that chairs under furniture category had the highest sales and profit, while tables had the lowest profit. For office supplies, subcategory binders made the highest profit, even though storage had the highest sales. Under technology category, copiers made the highest profit, though it was the least amount of sales. Let's work to create a dual axis chart in Tableau to present sales and profits across different years using sample superstore dataset. Load the orders sheet from the sample superstore dataset. Drag the order data field from the dimensions onto columns and convert it into continuous month. Drag cells onto rows and profits to the right corner of the view until you see a light green rectangle. One of those things, if you haven't done this hands-on, you don't know what you're doing, you're going to run into a bind because you're going to be just kind of dropping it and wondering what happened. Synchronize the right axes by right-clicking on the profit axis. And then let's finalize it by going under the marks card, change some cells to bar and some profit to line, and adjust the size. And then we have a nice display that we can either print out or save and send off to the shareholders. Let's go ahead and do one more Tableau. Design a view in Tableau to show state-wise sales and profits using the sample Superstore dataset. In here you go ahead and drag the country field onto the view section and expand it to see the states. Drag the states field onto size and profit onto color. Increase the size of the bubbles, add a border and a halo color. States like Washington, California, and New York have the highest sales and profits, while Texas, Pennsylvania, and Ohio have a good amount of sales but the least amount of profits. We'll go ahead and skip back to Python NumPy. Suppose there is an array number equals NP, or NumPy if you're using NumPy, depending on how you set it up, dot array, and we just have 1 to 9 broken up into 3 groups. Extract the value 8 using 2D indexing. So you can see on the left we have our import NumPy as NP, number equals our NP array. If we print the number, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Since the value 8 is present in the second row and first column, we use the same index position and pass it to the array. And you just have number 2, 1, and you get 8. And remember, we're in Python, so you start at 0, not 1 like you do in Excel. Always gets me if I'm working between Excel and Python, where I just kind of flip, and usually it's the Excel that messes up because I do a lot more programming. Suppose there's an array that has values 0, 1, all the way up to 9. How will you display the following values from the array? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So first of all, we go ahead and create the array, np.arange of 10, which goes from 0 to 9, because there's 10 numbers in it, but we don't include the 10. We print it out. The first thing you want to do is, what's going on here with 1, 3, 5, 7, 9? Well, if we divide by 2, there's going to be a remainder equal to 1. And then from Python, remember that if you use the percentage sign, you get the remainder on there. So the remainder is 1. And then you have your NumPy array, and then we just want to do a logical statement of all values that have a remainder of 1, and that generates our nice 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. There are 2 arrays, A and B. Stack the arrays A and B horizontally. Boy, these horizontal vertical questions will get you every time. And in NumPy, we go ahead and we've created 2 different arrays over here, A and B. The first one is your concatenate, np.concatenate A and B on axes equal 1. That is the same as hstack. And in the back end, they're still identical. They run the same. That's all hstack is, a concatenate axes equals 1. How can you add a column to a pandas data frame? Suppose there's an imp data frame that has information about few employees. Let's add address column to that data frame. And you can see on the left we have our basic data frame. You should know your data frames very well. Basically it looks like an Excel spreadsheet. As you come over here, it's really simple. You just do df of address equals the address once you've assigned values to the address. Using the below given data, create a pivot table to find the total cells made by each sales represented for each item. Display the cells as a percentage of the grand total. So we're back in Tableau. Select the entire table range, click on Insert tab, and choose Pivot Table. Select the table range and the worksheet where you want to place the pivot table. It will return a pivot table where you can analyze your data. Drag the cell total on the values in sales rep and item onto row labels. It will give the sum of the sales made by each representative for each item they have sold. And finally, right-click on Sum of Cell Total and expand Show Values as to select Percentage of Grand Total. Real important just to understand what a pivot table is. We're just pivoting it from rows and columns and switching this direction on there. And finally, we have our final pivot table, and you can see the values, roles, and sum of total sale. So we're going to go ahead and take a product table. This is off of an SQL, so we're going to do some SQL here. And we're going to use the product and sales order detail table, find the products that have total units sold greater than 1.5 million. And here's our sales order detail table. So we have a product table and a sales order detail table, two separate tables in the database. And what we're going to do is put together the SQL query. We want to select PP name, sum, SOD, unit price as sales. And then we have our pp.product ID from production product as pp inner join, sales.sales order detail as SOD on pp product ID equals SOD.product ID group by pp.name, comma pp.product ID having a sum of SOD.unit price greater than the 150 million there. That's a mouthful. And again, these SQL queries, they start looking really crazy until you just break them apart and do them step by step. And what we're looking for is the inner join and how did you do the group by. That's really what they know. How do you do this inner join? This comes up so much in SQL. How do you pull in the ID from one chart and the information from another chart and the sum totals on that chart? How do you write a stored procedure in SQL? Let's create a stored procedure to find the sum, the squares of the first n natural numbers. So here we have our formula, n times n plus 1 times 2n plus 1 over 6. And you can see from the command prompt or the setup you have, depending on what your login is, the command is create procedure square sum 1. Declare a variable at n of integer as begin, and then we're going to declare the sum of integer, set sum equals n times n plus 1 plus 2 times n plus 1 over 6. And then of course we can go ahead and print those out. Print first cast ampersand n, or our variable, as a variable character 20 natural numbers. Print the sum of the square is cast the at sum as variable character 40 end. And then we do the output, display the sum of the square for first 4 natural numbers. We have execute square sum 1, and then we're going to put in 4, and you can see here where it brings up the first 4 natural numbers. Sum of square is 30. Write a store procedure to find the total even number between two user-given numbers. A couple of things to note here. First, we go ahead and create our procedure. You have your two different variables, the n1, n2. And we go ahead and begin. We're going to declare our variable count as an integer. We're going to set count equal to 0. And then we have while n is less than n2. We're going to begin. And if n1 remainder 2 equals 0, so we're going to divide it by 2, even number, begin. We're going to set the count equal to count plus 1. We're going to print even number plus cast n as a variable character 10 for printing. Count is plus cast variable count as variable character 10 end. Else print odd number plus cast variable number 1 as variable character 10. And then we go ahead and set the increment our variable 1 up 1. So it'll go from n1 all the way to n2. And it'll print the total number of even numbers. And you can see here we went ahead and executed it. We're going to count the even numbers between 30 and 45. And you can just see it goes all the way down to 8. What is the difference between tree maps and heat maps in Tableau? Now, if you've worked in Python and other programmings, you should automatically know what a heat map is. But a tree map are used to display data in nested rectangles. You use dimensions to define the structure of the tree map and measure to define the size or color of individual rectangles. Tree maps are a relatively simple data visualization that can provide insight in a visually attractive format. And again, you can see the squares over here. This is our tree map over here with each block also has its information inside of its different blocks. A heat map helps to visualize measures against the dimensions with the help of colors and size to compare one or more dimensions and up to 2 measures. The layout is similar to a text table with variations in values encoded as colors. In heat map, you can quickly see a wide array of information. And in this one, you can see they use the colors to denote one thing and the size of the little square to denote something else. A lot of times you can even graph this into a 3-dimensional graph with other data so it pops out. But again, a heat map is the color and the size. Using the sample superstore dataset, display the top 5 and bottom 5 customers based on their profit. So you start by dragging the customer name field onto rows and profit on columns. Right-click on the customer name column to create a set. Give a name to the set and select Top Tab to choose top 5 customers by sum profit. Similarly, create a set for the bottom 5 customers by sum profit. Select both the sets, right-click to create a combined set. Give a name to the set and choose all members in both sets. And then you can drag top and bottom customer sets onto the filters and profit field onto color to get the desired results. As we get down to the end of our list, we're going to try to keep you on your toes. We're going to skip back to NumPy. How to print 4 random integers between 1 and 15 using NumPy. To generate random numbers using NumPy, we use the random integer function. And you can see here we did the import NumPy as np, random arrangement equals np.random integer 1 through 15 of 4. From the below data frame, going to jump again on you, now we're into pandas. How will you find the unique values for each column and subset the data for age less than 35 and height greater than 6? To find the unique values and the number of unique elements, use the unique and the nUnique function. You can see here we just did df height, so we're selecting just the height column, and we want to look for the unique. That returns an array, where nUnique, if we do that on the height or the age, will return just the number of unique values. And then we can do a subset the data for ages less than 35 and height greater than 6. So if we look over here, we have a new df. Remember, this is going to be taking slices of our original data frame. It doesn't actually change the data frame. So our new df equals the data frame, or df, the data frame where age is less than 35 and the height is greater than 6. And in case you're not using Tableau, which has a lot of its own different mapping programs in there, make sure you understand how to use the basics of Matplot library. Plot a sign graph using NumPy and Matplot library in Python. And the way we did this is we went ahead and generated an x. We know our y equals np.sign of x. If you print out x, you'll see a whole value here. Our Matplot library PyPlot as PLT. If you are working in Jupyter Notebook, make sure you understand the Matplot library inline, that little percentage sign Matplot library inline. That prints it on the page in the Jupyter Notebook. The newer version of Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Labs automatically does that for you, but I usually put it in there just in case I end up on an older version. If you print y, you can see here we have our different y values and our different x values. You simply put in plt.plot xy and do a plot show. And before we go, let's get one more in. We're going to do a pandas using the below pandas data frame. Find the company with the highest average sales, derive the summary statistics for this sales column, and transpose these statistics. That's a mouthful, and just like any of these computer problems, break it apart. So first of all, we're looking for the highest average sales. So group the company column and use the mean function to find the average sales. And you can see here by company equals df.groupBy company. Once we've done that, using the describe function, we can now go ahead and look at the summary of statistics on here. Use the describe function to find the summary. So by company, those are groups. We're just going to describe them. And you could actually bundle those together if you wanted and just do them all in one line. So here we go, by company.describe. You can see we have a nice breakout. Always good to remember. Whether you're using any of the packages, whether it's Tableau or Pandas, in Python or even R or some other package, being able to quick look and describe your data is very important. And then we can go ahead and just do a basic apply a transpose function over the describe method to transpose the statistics. All we've done here is flip the index with the column names, but if you're following the numbers, a lot of times it's easier to follow across one line, or maybe you want to average out the count, or there's all kinds of different reasons to do that.
We have reached the end of this session on the full data analytics course. Should you need any assistance, PPT, project code, and other resources used in this session, please let us know in the comment section below, and a team of experts will be happy to help you as soon as possible. Until next time, thank you and keep learning. Stay tuned for more from Simplilearn.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.